In today's video, we finally installed these Enkei GTC02s that are wrapped in Michelin PS4Ss. I had these wheels and tires mounted, balanced, ceramic coated well over 10 months ago, and it's finally time to get them installed on the Legacy GT. Today we are finally getting my new wheels and tires mounted and on the car. Let me show you what we've got. What I didn't know was it was actually gonna be another 10 months before these wheels and tires even went on the car. So if you didn't watch the build intro video, you've never seen these wheels, but you should go back and watch that video now because it's gonna give you a full breakdown of what's going on with the Legacy GT. But I did get a set of Enkei GTC02s. These are an 18x9, so a whole inch wider than the setup that was on the car before, and we're gonna be able to get a lot more tire on there because of it. So I've got the Michelin PS4Ss in a 245, nice and meaty. We had a 235 stuffed under there before, but this is a little bit wider tire and a much grippier compound. I cannot wait to try this setup, but we're gonna head over to Polished Image Detailing and we're gonna get these guys ceramic coated and the tires mounted up on them and ready to go on the car. So I'm gonna get these loaded up in the daily and we'll head that way. And that is exactly why we love a good wagon. 4 wheels, 4 tires, and room to spare. And that brings us back to current day. So these wheels and tires have been sitting mounted and balanced for over 10 months. I cannot believe that. I've had these wheels for so long. I think I've had the wheels for like 2 years. They've been mounted and balanced for 10 months. This has been a process, but today we finally get to see these on the car. So I'm gonna get all of these over by the car and uncovered, bring the car down, and we're gonna get these things on. All right, we've got the wheels ready to go on the car. I did pull out the center caps because we're gonna have to torque down the axles with the wheels on the car once they're resting on the ground so that those don't rotate while we're torquing them down. But to hold these wheels on, we've got these awesome lug nuts that Daniel recommended to me. Let me pull them out real quick and I'll show you. So these are a 2-piece style lug nut that you actually put this piece on and this is what you torque down. You can see we've got 4 that are, I think probably a 17mm socket, and then you've got your locking one here. Once you've torqued those down, you have a outer shell that goes on it, and these are the shorter of the 2 options that they make. So you actually just screw this on here, and the cool part is that they have tools for each one. So you've got your normal socket, safety tool, and then this is the one that you use to put the outer caps on, and so that those stay looking perfect and don't get scratched up. It's time to put these on the car, and I cannot wait to see what these look like with the wheels and the brakes. Oh, it's all just gonna look so good together. This is actually unbelievable. It is so wild seeing wheels on this car once again. It has been months since we've seen this car with wheels on it. And oh my God. I cannot get over how this setup looks. You can see the back wheels are pretty good fitment wise. I think those will tuck in nicely there. The fronts need some work. As you can see, this one's got some wicked toe out for some reason, so I need to figure out what's going on there. And if we go over to this side, you can see it doesn't quite have the toe out that the other side does, but we're definitely gonna need to put a little bit of camber on this one, which I knew. I figured we're probably gonna have to run about 1 degree or 2 max, so we can make some adjustments up here. But wow, absolutely incredible to see this. So I'm gonna get the car back up in the air, make sure none of the arms are too tight, set the rear on 2 blocks and get everything torqued down, and then put the front on 2 blocks, lower it down and torque everything while it's at closer to a ride height position. So we're gonna get the car up in the air, make sure nothing's too tight, and start working on getting closer to a final alignment. We've got the car almost on the ground. All 4 wheels are on. We've got fitment kind of eyeballed, just looking at where that needs to be. I need to see what these little dash increments are in terms of degrees, because it's pretty much mostly pushed in right now, which it doesn't seem like an excessive amount of camber. So we'll see how that settles. I suspect that I'll need to lower the coilovers a little bit just based on where they're sitting right now. But let's get this thing on the ground. Yeah, very much so monster trucking right now, but wow. It's our closest look at the setup complete on the car. Wild. That is so crazy. The car's sitting on the ground under its own weight for the first time in, I want to say, at least 3 months. That is pretty crazy, but as you can see, we need to bring the coilovers down. Good, man, close to 1 inch probably. Obviously I need some fine tuning adjustment. This is all just eyeballed at this point, but what a sight. Okay, so I had the car on the ground. We probably need to take out 3/4 of an inch to a full inch from the coilover. I think the mistake that I made is that I measured the strut and springs when they were fully extended, and they just compress more than the coilover does, so that's why we've got the monster truck fitment that we do. So we need to take all 4 wheels off in order to adjust the coilovers, and then we're gonna take out probably 3/4 of an inch to start, put it back on the ground, and see if that gets us closer to where we wanna be. Okay, I have spent hours off camera tweaking the suspension, dropping the car down, trying to get this ride height dialed in, but I think we're finally there. I've got the fronts to match on both sides, same in the rear, everything in the coilover is tightened down. Now, if ride height looks good here, we're gonna be able to get everything in the rear end torqued down. But before we throw the wheels back on, I need to throw in these hub Centric Spacers. For those of you who are maybe not familiar, the hub size on the actual car versus the bore size on the wheel can oftentimes be different. On my car, for instance, this is a 56.1 millimeter bore, and the hub of the wheel is 75 millimeters. So that's where the spacer comes in. You can see it fits over this perfectly and is gonna help the wheel seat. I actually haven't used these metal wheel hubs before, but these are made by Enkei, which is who makes my wheels. So I think we're gonna have a pretty good fit here. And you can see, here's one that I've already fitted in there. It gets held in with a little, or not so little, metal C-clip here. So it's nice and tight in the wheel. crazy. I think we've got pretty close to the final fitment on the rear of the car. We're gonna have to run, like I said, somewhere between 1 degree and 2 of camber. We're probably somewhere in that range. I feel like this is a nice functional fitment. And this is without some of the stuff in the rear end as well. So I gotta put all the interior back in, the sub goes back there, but wow. Wow, wow, wow. I am freaking out seeing this for the first time. The front's definitely gonna need some adjustment. I gotta figure out what options we have up here, but we've got a little bit too much. I guess we just need to get more camber out of the front is the main thing here, but I'm not exactly 100% sure how we do that because the camber plates on the Fortunatos are in fact maxed out. And I don't think there's any like track width adjustment in the bottom there. So we're gonna have to see what our options are. This one's closer to where it needs to be as far as the toe goes. This one is not. Sticking out and looking a little bit funny, but I'm gonna get the car back up on the lift so that we can lower it down on some blocks in the back and get the rear suspension torqued down in place and get this wrapped up. Oh man, it really is always something. We are down to like the last step here, but this is just fighting me. So the exhaust flange, the 2-bolt flange there that connects the muffler to the Y pipe is just making contact with that sway bar. And I can't seem to get that resolved. I put new exhaust bushings on here, which obviously tightened up the fitment a little bit. You can see how close that is here. That may even be too tight, and I kind of wish I could get this to come this way a little bit, and that would probably solve our issue, but I'm not seeing any sort of wiggle room that we have here. So I'm gonna just leave this. I don't know what to do with it right now, but we need to keep moving. The car is all torqued down in the back end, so it's really ready to go. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get it off the blocks and get this car on the ground. And then in the next video, we will go and fill it with fluids and probably take it for its first test drive. All right, you guys, that's where I'm gonna leave you. I did take the mufflers off the car until we can get that situation resolved because I do wanna be able to put fluid in it next time, get it started, and if all goes right, take it for its first test drive. So.